What's up, YouTube? Poor.Mans.Podcast back with another video. Today's video is going to be 2 reasons to not date single mothers with Coach Adams, okay? This is essentially going to be a single mother's review on Coach Adams' 2 reasons to not date a single mother. Okay, so I'm assuming that she's going to be opposed. She's going to be telling men to date single mothers, but we'll find out. Before I get into the video, though, I got to do YouTube stuff. The goal is 25,000 subscribers by June. It's a crazy goal. It's a big goal, but it's my goal, all right? And the only way I'm going to get to my goal is if you give me the HBO special. Do you know what the HBO special is? That's the Help a Brother Out special, all right? So go on and help a brother out. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. I'm going to give y'all a second to do that. All right, now let's get to it. Don't date single mothers, 2 reasons with Coach Adams. Let's see what you got to say.
If you want to be a player and that's your thing, knock yourself out, go ahead and watch these guys so they can teach you how to get more women to be repelled. Now, I can't teach you how to be a man, homie. But I can teach you how to have a good character and be more attractive to women. That's all I can do. I'm a woman. I know what women want, all right? And most of the time, they don't want no dusty-ass dude that's out here trying to be a player because he listened to some dudes on YouTube, okay? So I'm not sitting here trying to dog these guys out. They're great in their own way, and they are for a specific type of man who wants to basically have control over women. A lot of men want control over women, and there are women out there that you just can't control. You know why? Because they don't want to be your slave. You know what I mean? They're human beings. They're not interested in you controlling them, okay? So those are the women I'm going to try to get you to attract. Now, of course, I'm a new single mom. I have a 3-year-old. So, of course, I'm going to have some say in this clip right here.
Gentlemen, top 2 reasons why you don't date single mothers.
Now, I've made my own clips about single mothers, and I had a lot of people mad at me about a single mother clip I made on TikTok telling women, hey, it's your responsibility to teach your sons how to respect women. And if your sons are grown and they're out here disrespecting women and not taking care of their kids, I want to know what you did as a single mother that has them out here thinking that type of crap is okay. Women with grown sons, your son's behavior is a reflection of you as a mother. Did you enable him? What were you teaching him that has him out here disrespecting women and abandoning his children? Now he gave...
See, but that is with the, and I'm not going to go for long. Okay. That is with the assumption that most men who aren't in their children's lives is because they don't want to, okay? And I would argue that most men are not in their kids' lives because their mothers, the kids' mothers, have a resentment issue that the man didn't commit to the mother. A lot of times we see women, they believe that if they have a man's child, that means that man's going to commit to them. Even though that man expresses that he wants nothing to, he doesn't want her to have the child, she'll continue to have the child anyway because she wants that man to take care of her for the rest of her life. Turns out he doesn't want anything to do with the woman, and so and out of resentment, she makes sure that he doesn't get to see his children. That's a lot of the times the issue, but let's continue the video.
I have 2 reasons why you shouldn't date single mothers. And let me just say both of them are bullshit, okay? If you're dealing with the right woman. A woman who has a good character didn't just suddenly stop having a good character when she had children. We don't become incompetent simply because we dated a Dusty who decided to abandon us with children. We may have made a mistake because this Dusty may have been fronting or something, or we may have just banked on a dude's potential. But for the most part, even if we've made a poor choice in man, it doesn't always mean that we're bad parents.
Interesting contradiction, because earlier, I don't know if y'all remember, just maybe a minute ago, she just said that women don't want men that are Dusties. If that is the case, why did you allow yourself to get pregnant and give the greatest gift you can give to a man to a quote-unquote Dusty? That is a complete contradiction of the argument that was earlier. And I'm just going to break this down in terms of the contradictions, because they're women just explain in circles sometimes in these videos, and they generally don't even have a clue what they're talking about. But let's continue the video.
Friend and wife is a different role from mother. It's 2 different things. So if I'm a shitty girlfriend, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'll be a bad mother. If I'm a good wife, it doesn't mean that I would be a good mother. It's 2 different things. Now, here's what I try to get men to understand. There are two types of single mothers in this world. There are high-end single mothers and there are ghetto, low-energy baby mamas. You need to be able to know the difference. If you are choosing single mothers today and you continuously keep having negative experiences with these women, it's because of these women's character, not the fact that they have children. Their children have nothing to do with what kind of woman that they are. You would think that children would create a better, outcome for women. Like they would be better because we have to be more responsible. We have to do the damn thing, especially if we're alone. So we got to go out there and do what we're supposed to do. We can't be messing around. So you would think being a mother would change some of these women who have bad characters. But I'm here to inform you fellas, that's not the case at all.
So, all right, let's get into it. Reason number one, most time they raise some badass kids, all right? Most of them kids got bad habits. They bad in school. They got bad grades. They ain't never gonna be done.
Number one, my son is almost 3 and he says, please, thank you, excuse me, and I'm sorry, okay, at 3. So it's about who this woman is and what she teaches her children. Like I said, just because a woman is single doesn't mean she doesn't know how to parent or discipline her children. Some women got it confused. Some women think spankings discipline their children. Some women have so many different ways that they try to control their kids. If they don't know how to control their kids, there's definitely something going on with them. They don't know how to manage anything. So yeah, look at a woman and decipher whether or not she can take care of her children. That lets you know what kind of woman she is and whether you can deal with her or not.
As a counter argument to that, I would argue that he was speaking in generalities, in which we normally do. Women like to think of the one case where it works, okay? So a lot of women will go out and they'll chase the bad boy in their 20s and get pregnant by the bad boy and then want the nice guy in the 30s to save their lives. And to justify this action, they'll say, look at Sierra, she did it. The one case in which it worked. And this is what she's doing in this situation. She's like, okay, look at my son. My son says please and thank you, so that's not a problem. But we're saying statistically speaking, okay, if you have a single mother and she has a child, the child is at risk the child just more than likely will not graduate. Well, I won't say more than likely. The child is more likely than a child with 2-parent household to not graduate from college, to go to jail, to go to prison, to abandon his children. He's more likely to be abusive. He's more likely to be physically violent. All right, if it's a boy, of course. For women, they're more likely to get pregnant early. They're less likely to finish high school, just like the men. So it does come with a lot of cons. All right, and that's just generally speaking. That's across the board, and that's what you have to look at. You can't look at individual situations and try to find the unicorn. Let's continue the video.
It is very much a determining factor how a woman takes care of her kids, okay? Pay attention to that, all right? But for the most part, if you're dealing with a decent woman, she hasn't just suddenly thrown parenting out the window simply because some man isn't around. I've taken child development classes as well as parenting classes. I took them in high school and in college, and I encourage women to take them all of the time. For the record, I have a group for single moms on Facebook. It's called Black Single Moms We Give You Life. And in there, I get a lot of information about moms, and let me tell you, there are good moms in there. I know a ton of good moms, and for the most part, most of those single mothers have been divorced. I do want to continue to keep saying that because a lot of people keep thinking that single mothers never got married or we are promiscuous or something like that. No, most of those women are divorced, and these men have abandoned their children now that they have found another woman to be involved with, okay? That's happening with a lot of women. I'm not saying that's all women. I'm just saying please factor in that a lot of single mothers are divorced, all right? And these men just completely abandon their children.
Okay, as a counter argument to that, I do agree with her in that case. If a man does have a family, he has a child in that family, I do believe that should be his main focus. Now, are men who have the financial leverage in the relationship probably going to have mistresses? Well, if we look at history, I would have to say yes. Statistically speaking, if you have the ability to fund multiple women, you will choose to do it as a man, and that's just what we're looking at throughout history. We look at all the great conquerors, all the great chiefs, pharaohs, kings, any man with power has always had multiple women around him. Now, do I believe that his main focus should be his family? Yes, I do believe his main focus should be his family, and he shouldn't leave his family to go out with another woman. But my argument for that is not the majority of cases. The vast majority, I believe, of cases are women having children out of wedlock. Okay, and that is a very unique situation, and this is her trying to backtrack and trying to go find the unicorn again. Okay, she's looking for the very small minority when we're talking about the majority, and the majority is black women in particular, and women across the board is rising, are having children out of wedlock, and it's becoming a problem because single mother or children raised by single mothers across the board are just at a disadvantage. Let's continue the video.
Single mothers have bad kids. Yes, because they're juggling a lot. 9 times out of 10, they're working so much, they're not with their kids. But you have women like me who are stay-at-home moms. I watch my son all the time. I'm always going to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I have several businesses. I can do that. But there are women out there who have to go to work and they leave their kids alone often. So, an idle mind is a devil's playground. So these kids are out here just doing God knows what with no kind of guidance. Single means one. Not really relationship status. You understand what I'm saying? I think people think single meaning like who they're involved with. No, single just means one. Okay, so it just means one parent. So I'm a single parent. But trust me, there are married women out there who struggle with parenting. Okay, so just because a man is there or isn't there has nothing to do with it. The way that men treat women has to do with what they saw women either put up with or not put up with. If their mothers put up with cheating husbands and lying and abuse, usually that's what these guys end up doing. If their mothers were single, most of these men end up juggling women. They don't necessarily keep a solid relationship.
And the reason number 2 that you don't date single mothers is because them kids ain't gonna leave anyway. They codependent as hell. They ain't leaving the house. You marry a single mother, you date a single mother, that kid gonna be there until 15, 20, 30 years old. That kid gonna be there. You gotta not date single mothers.
Number 2, I left the nest at 18. This is something I'm going to be teaching my son. Once you get 18, you either need to try to get your own place or you need to be going to college and living on campus. Not just sitting up in your mama's house, okay? That's not going to happen. I don't know what mama is comfortable with that. Oh, wait a minute. Let me give you an example. Last year I dated this guy, known him since 7th grade. Me and him been dating on and off since then, all right? I'm 40 years old.
See, and this is what women like to do, okay? And if you've stuck around for this long, I really want to give you a clap because I was clicking on this video and watching this video with the expectation that she would have statistical reasons, like factual reasons why men should date single mothers, okay? But what she's doing is basically saying, pick me, I'm not like all the other single mothers. You know what I mean? She's not really giving a general consensus or using facts like, okay, say if there was a fact, I'm making this completely up, don't take this, don't take it and run with it, I'm just making this up. Say if there was a fact that, single mothers are more likely to, I don't know, be comforting or nurturing and their children go on to be successful men more than likely. That would be and she said 50% or 62%, and she came with a statistic, something that is actually grounded in facts. That would make me feel better about what I'm listening to. But right now I feel like I'm listening to like a story time, and I understand that this is how women like to exchange information, but men like statistics and concrete facts. We don't care about your personal experiences with this situation. We'll care about that maybe if it relates. So if I say single mothers, they usually have mental issues from being abandoned. They may have abandonment issues. They're more likely to have abandonment issues. They're more likely to be depressed. They're more likely to have anxiety. They're more likely to be bipolar. They're more likely to be emotionally unstable. Okay, and then I gave you an example of how that affected me in my life. Yes, that would make sense, but she's not coming up with the facts first. Okay, and I'm not hearing anything that's compelling me to want to date single mothers more likely. Now, you probably couldn't do that for me anyway, because I'm just so far gone in believing that men should not date single mothers if you want to build your own legacy and if you don't have any children. Now, if you have children yourself, you're a little older, it's a little bit more understandable. But if you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, and you're trying to take care of another man's seed, there just seems to be no benefit in my eyes, okay? You're dealing with a woman who's given her womb to a man and she has damage. Okay, now you can come in and try to be Captain Save, and you could try to fix all that damage and save her child, but if she ever decides to leave you, in which women are incentivized to leave men in marriage, you're left with nothing. Okay, you're left with nothing. And that legacy that you were building for that child, that was another man's child anyway, it's gone. All that money is out the window. At least if that was your child and a woman left you and took half your stuff, that child could grow an appreciation for what you've done for it, because they understand that you're his father. They understand that you're its father. You know what I mean? But somebody else's child wouldn't have that same understanding. They wouldn't have that same connection with you. So you just be another guy that just tricked off hundreds of thousands of dollars in my eyes. But let's continue the video, see if we can get any value in it. I'll probably go for another minute. If it's still a story time and she ain't giving me no facts, probably call it a video, guys. But let's see what she's talking about.
He's like, I don't know, 39 maybe, 38, because he's a year behind me. This man still lives with his mom in the same place he was living when we were teenagers. And I tried so hard to get this man to come move out with me in California, but he wanted to stay in DC at his mama's house. We didn't get married last year like we were supposed to. You know why? Because he wouldn't let go of his mama. Now keep in mind, he grew up with both of his parents. His father passed away in his 20s. His older brother just got out of prison for murder. He himself went to the military and toured twice. Both his parents still live with his mama. So it has nothing to do with single mothers. It's just this guy and his own issues and what his mother puts up with. A woman can be married and still put up with nonsense from their kids or their husbands. It has nothing to do with a relationship status. Being single is separate from being a mother. So what I think you guys should start calling women is solo mom. I just want you to understand that for the most part, most single mothers are out here doing their thing because we don't have a choice. So we got to go out here and we got to work. We got to do our own thing. We got to clean. We got to cook. We got things that we need to do as a woman. We don't have a choice. But for the most part, we definitely want to have adult time with a man. Okay? Know the difference between a high-end single mother who has a career, who has her own money, who's a decent person, has a good character, has a good relationship with God, versus these ghetto baby mamas that y'all be running into all of the time. They're just ratchet even if they didn't have kids, okay? If you have...
Okay, guys, final thoughts on the video. This was a big old pick me session, all right? She didn't give me any concrete facts. She just wants us to pick single mothers. Not any single mother, just single mothers like her, okay? So, seems like it sounded like a Tinder thing. I don't know. It sounded like those guys are bad, but I'm a good guy. You know what I mean? Like when dudes do that because they don't want to be competitive in the dating market. So they just say, oh, your boyfriend's a bad guy. Come date me because I'm a good guy. You know what I'm saying? That's what it seems like to me. It sounds like a sales pitch. I'm uninterested. My final, what I would come to the conclusion is no. There's no benefit in dating a single mother. You're taking on baggage that's just going to weigh you down. You're taking on literally a flesh ball, just a ball of flesh and stress. That's what children are. And if you don't have the connection for that to have been your ball of stress and flesh, you know what I mean? If that's not your personal ball of flesh and stress, then why would you ever want to take on that kind of baggage? That plus the woman is probably going to have some kind of mental issue. If not a mental issue, it's going to be some kind of trust issue involved, all right, because of abandonment. So when you give your greatest gift to a person that doesn't want to commit to you and has demonstrated he doesn't want to commit to you, you're probably not going to come out the same person as you were when you went in. So you're going to be damaged. And then if you're willing to stick around and heal those wounds, that's on you. Best luck to you. Till next time.